'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I got to go for faith. I got to have faith. Baby.
Go lay down. Go lay down. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Faith, the mighty power of faith. That is the new title of the show. Because it is, I personally, for me personally, I have seen it to be exactly that. I know there are those that will dispute me, and that's fine, but they haven't lived my life. They haven't walked in my shoes. They didn't go through 2014 with me, and they have not experienced what I've experienced since the new year's been upon us. So nobody can tell me that faith isn't a mighty power. Brought to you, as always, by Pitbull Energy Drink, and this is a mighty power too, so know that. This will get you going, a great aerobic workout, get your house clean, whatever, it gives you the energy and without being all whacked out. I'm very sensitive to caffeine, so I'm very careful about that stuff, and this is the good stuff. Pitbull Energy Drink. You want to try this, forget about those other ones. Just go to Pitbull Energy Drink and try it instead of those other ones, and then make your decision. I'm convinced you'll go with Pitbull. Okay, so I have a great guest today. She's a yoga teacher. She talks about the light. I met her. I just had her as my guest on Pitbull Comedy Music Jam. And it's always intriguing to me to meet someone that has an understanding of spirituality without being, extreme religious. It's not about that, and judgmental. It's not about that. And she teaches a class where she gets people to open up their chakras, and and she just told me in the last show that regarding her dating situation, she's very picky because the physical attraction, all that's well and good, but you gotta have some kind of a spiritual bond. You got to be on the same page. There's got to be something there that's very important if you're actually going to create, something real. And so, anyway, she did say something to me that struck me because I've told people many times about the light. Whenever someone dies, my words of comfort are they're in the light now and they're actually fully conscious of it. And I think I came close to being fully conscious of it under the influence of mushrooms, on magic mushrooms at Morro Bay and on the beach of Santa Barbara. But I'll give it one more shot before I leave this planet. But anyway, welcoming back Sharita
Mulrow.
I keep tell it again?
Mulrow.
It's Mulrow. Irish, but she's Jamaican.
Yeah.
Jamaican Irish?
I am a Jamaican Irish.
Who's got the Irish in them?
My father.
He does?
Mm-hmm.
And so how did he wind up meeting your Jamaican mom? He went for a vacation?
They're both Jamaican. No.
But where's he got the Irish from?
Okay, a lot of people don't know this, but Jamaica is an island that has 5 really main cultures. You have the black culture, of course, you have the Indian, but you have a very big Chinese population, a very big Dutch population, and a very big Irish population.
Well, the Dutch I get. The Chinese and the Irish
I know. It's big.
Well, I was there.
And now, very big Spanish population. I went home last year, or 2 years ago, and almost every other station is Spanish.
Really?
So the Spanish from Cuba and everywhere has definitely moved in.
Where is home in Jamaica for you? Negril?
No.
I went to
That
Negril
would be
Beach.
nice.
I went for a vacation.
Yeah, that's the
$31,000
tourist
on a
area.
game show, and I went to Club Hedonism.
31? Really?
That was the first game show. The second
you went
one
to
I
Hedonism?
tripled out. I went to Tahiti.
Oh, how was that?
I went to Tahiti,
Uh-huh.
where I thought it was going to be wild, but with the girls there, I thought they were wild by going topless on the beach. But at Hedonism, I didn't know it, but I found out it was like a swingers joint.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say to women, damn, man, you got to come to my cabin and smoke some of that ganja with me. And they go, well, I'm married. And I'm like, damn. And they say, yeah, but we have an open relationship.
It's okay.
That was what they would follow it with. And I had quite a time. It was a great time. I went alone. I won my money. I didn't bring any friends.
Oh, wow.
I just was on a tear.
How long did you stay?
I stayed for 6 days and 6 nights. You can't really stay for much more.
Jamaica doesn't really consider hedonism a part of Jamaica.
I'm sure
they say because you got to take a boat to get out there first of all.
Well, I just remember us getting off at the airport. I bought an ounce of Jamaican ganja. We got on a bus. We stopped at a roadside thing. And the guy handed us through the bus window a couple of joints. We paid for a couple of joints and some cake.
Yeah.
And you know, all day long in the background is the reggae music. And you're high all day. I wake up and have a little piece of the cake, then I'd smoke a joint, then I'd go and eat breakfast, then I'd drink Red Stripe beer. And all day, like, this is the ground.
Life.
Yeah, this is the ground, and you're walking
up there.
And it was raining every day. And you had all these people from New York and Boston. I was living in L.A. at the time. I'd just come from Tahiti. I was darker than you.
Oh, my God.
I had my tan.
Yeah.
They were freaking out they couldn't get tan. That's what's important, you know, with people in New York that go on vacation. So they'd say to the guys at work there, when's the sun going to come out, man? You know, they were all upset. When's the sun going to come out? And every Jamaican guy that worked there would say, don't worry, man. Jah bring the sun tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Jah bring the sun tomorrow. The sun never came on the sixth day.
It's soon come.
Because they wanted to get in the nude jacuzzi. They wanted to play nude volleyball. I could care less about that.
What time of year was it?
It was June.
Oh.
It was hedonism 2. When I used to joke around, I go, yeah, because hedonism 1 was flash flooded away. The rain was unbelievable. But anyway, let's get to Faith. You were raised by this Irish Jamaican mother and father. And by the way, you was only child, or their siblings?
I am an only child.
I got that feeling.
Yeah, really.
So did they raise you Irish Catholic Jamaican, or
no? Okay, the Irish is just the foundation. That's that's a part of the heritage. We're Jamaican.
And so you were raised with Haile Selassie?
I
I
was not raised with Haile Selassie.
Rastafari?
No. I was raised with Jesus Christ.
Oh, you were?
And I was raised, as a Christian. My grandfather was Moravian, and my grandmother, she was a Christian. A Christian woman.
Big time Christian.
A big time Christian woman. But my parents, however, very young and very interestingly open-minded for Jamaican people.
Right.
I went to Catholic schools my whole life.
Really?
However, they did not want me to go to church all the time because they wanted me to really kind of decide for myself.
Oh, good for you. That's nice.
And didn't, wanted me to understand and know that there is greatness and a power called the universe,
right.
But not follow into this doctrine called religion.
Rules.
And basically make up my mind for myself. So that led me into studying practically every religion.
The same way at 3 years old you knew that you wanted to be a performer and be in the arts. I get the feeling that you knew you had a strong spiritual base as a very young child.
Absolutely.
Like you were connected to the universe.
I was extremely connected. I was connected to the earth. Always very, very connected to the earth.
And you did or didn't do any kind of psychedelics in your teenage years or early 20s?
In my teenage years, no. In my early 20s, yes. I did mushrooms.
Did you have a profound experience?
I did.
Like
I thought I was Jesus. I told it. I did.
That's why you asked me that.
Yeah. I mean, it was real.
It's totally real.
Because
totally real.
I started predicting things, and it lasted for days. Really? I was predicting things left and right all around.
Now, did you do these mushrooms in Jamaica? Or
no,
this was in New
did
York?
them in Palm Springs.
You're out by the desert. The desert's pretty mystical.
I was in the desert, and I remember laying in the middle of the street looking up at the stars, and I looked over into a bush. This was my first
Did it start
and
burning?
only time.
Did Moses show up?
No, I saw Indians like peeking out of the bush at me, and I looked at my friend. I was like, "Hey, there are Indians over there."
And they said, "No, there are no Indians," because you're entering in a perception level.
Yep.
It's parallel universe time. That's what it is.
Yeah. I literally felt like now I'm in the land. That's what I felt.
And so you had a profound experience.
I had an extremely profound
But this thing
experience.
About feeling like you were Jesus is that you felt like great compassion.
I felt great compassion, but what I kept on telling everyone was, you don't understand. I got to get it right this time. And I was also saying to them, like, nah, I've been here before. Look, and I was breaking things down to them of what happened and why it happened that way. And I mean, and
wow.
I don't even remember.
That's wild. That's some experience.
But they broke it down to me that, you said that you were Jesus, come back.
Well, that part of you were raised with such a strong Christian influence from your grandma. she was very big on Jesus. And
Yes.
your doors in your mind opened up, you know, and that's what you experienced. And
But you know, I believe in Jesus. I believe in the prophets. I believe in Buddha. I believe in Krishna. You know, I believe that these are sages that came to guide and give us a path. Not just one
well,
path
the big
is being
difference
given.
with Jesus, though, is, and they have this billboard at Hazeltine and Burbank in the Valley. I am the truth, the way, and the light. No one
I've
comes
seen
to
that,
the Father but through
but
me.
yeah, and
Now, you talk about
that's the
being
problem.
bold.
That's the problem.
But they say if Jesus, that you talk about being bold, that exudes some incredible confidence that you ain't making your way to God except through me.
Yeah.
And I know this is where a lot of people have trouble with
seen it.
Christianity and blah blah blah. But that's in the Bible. Whatever. I don't know. Look, here's my theory. I think we might very well, really honestly believe we might be in this whole biblical prophecy time, the stuff that's going on right now.
We are.
Now, they say that Jesus is coming back. And I've said this to a friend who's very fundamentalist Christian. He's very big on the good book. The Bible's the Word of God. It's not open for discussion. And I suggested to him that if Jesus came back in this day and age, at our time, right now, if you were Jesus, what would you do to get to the people, to make sure everyone knew you were back? I'll tell you what you would do. You would appear on every screen, everywhere, all at once,
Yeah.
across the world.
Yeah.
In the Muslim countries, in the Hindu countries, everywhere. Every movie screen, every computer screen, every phone screen, every tablet, every screen, all at once, all of a sudden, there's Jesus.
Yeah.
Then how could anyone dispute that he has returned?
Exactly.
Now, I'm not Jesus, so he might feel like, I'm just going to come walking like I did last time. I don't know. But the people I've known that have been true, faithful Christians, especially in my time of trouble I put myself in, my God, they've been so helpful and giving. They've been the best. You know, they came to my aid much greater than the people that I grew up with in New York. Not that they're Jewish, they're just, you know, they talk about us being a family in this neighborhood, but they all knew I was going through something. Nobody offered any help. But out here, the people I met out here, that through my work and through other things, and even just on Facebook, I have a car because good Christian souls said,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. You pay us when you can. You know,
Yeah.
you need the car.
Yeah.
Her father died, a 97 Caddy with 62,000 miles on it. I'm a New York Jew. I belong in a Caddy, you know. So that's a gift from God. And they've been amazing about you know, so... But whether it's Jesus or the Buddha or Krishna, and the Buddha said one thing that no one can ever dispute, and I've posted this on Facebook many times. The Buddha said, there will be suffering. And there will be. And we've all suffered, and we're going to suffer again. And Herm Edwards, ex-New York Jets coach, said, life is not a sissy sport, and the fight is just getting started. So, you know, it's life. The thing is in your attitude, right?
Yeah.
Got to have a cheerful, the guy that Unbroken is about. You know, that the 90,
movie.
they saw him interview when he's 97. He's got Angelina Jolie next to him, and they asked him, how do you, he went 47 days in a life raft on the Pacific Ocean, 2 years in a Japanese prisoner of war camp brutalizing him. And he said to him, well, how do you deal with that? He said, I've always had a cheerful attitude.
Yeah.
And I just thought, man, Howie, you got to get a cheerful attitude, because the shit you've been up against ain't in the same league, the same world as what this guy went up against. So I actually repeat that out loud to myself at various times throughout the day. I'll just remind myself, I have a cheerful attitude.
I think one of the things that we have to remember is that we are the creator of our realities.
No question.
You know,
there are
and
people
so
that dispute that, though.
Within the fact that we are the creators of our realities, it means that we are manifesting constantly.
Exactly correct.
And what you're manifesting is your will. And if your will is,
Or the will of
man, but it's true. The higher self is
I agree.
is God. Right?
Yes.
The higher self.
So you've got to be consciously aware that you're manifesting.
That's the thing, because it's kind of like the mind and the ego. It's a recorder, and it's always recording, whether good or bad, because good and bad are human concepts.
Yes.
And so we have to remember that good and bad are just things that's happening on this level in this time. You know, on a real level, we're invincible. So nothing really is ever going to change the truth of who you are, the truth of who you are, your essence. So this is an experience, and what I tell my students all the time, it's kind of like, you know, you're here living an experience. What is 90 years a billion times to an infinite being?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is 90 years a
It's
billion
getting,
times
yeah,
to an
that's
infinite
helping
being?
get perspective.
You know? So you stay in that place of thankfulness and
That's
upliftment.
critically important.
Yeah.
When things were going south for me, I saw Drew Carey on Larry King. He had gone twice to Las Vegas to kill himself before his success. Then he was massively successful. Larry King said, how'd you make that change? He said, I read all those personal self-help books, personal development, and I also learned about gratitude. And so in listening to him, I thought, okay, I'm going to start reading the books again. I'll listen to Anthony Robbins. I'll open my mind up. I'll listen to Napoleon Hill. But I also discovered the smiling pastor, Joel Osteen,
Oh,
who
yeah.
really lifted my spirits.
Oh, yeah.
And to this day has
Joel
lifted my
Osteen
spirits.
is pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. It's
He
just
is.
as an entertainer and a speaker. I mean, this guy speaks to 16,000 people live every
Yes.
Sunday and 10 million
And
millions.
on-
And he's
yeah,
got 7
on the airs.
bestsellers.
Exactly.
Nobody can talk bad about him to me. They can tell me all they want about, he's a televangelist. No, that man's the real deal. That man's the real deal. And the thing about gratitude, and I'll tell anyone that comes to me and says, they're going through it, I'll say the first thing you got to do, you got to write down every little thing you have to be grateful for in the midst of this grief. And you got to focus on the gratitude because it will turn it around because I've seen it happen for me. I mean, there's nobody. And the other thing, I was watching Joel today actually from a Sunday thing before I came here, and he's talking about having no doubt. And the playoff, I don't know if you're a football fan, but what went on with the Packers and the Seahawks, the quarterback of the Seahawks, who's now in his third year and looking at winning back-to-back Super Bowls, if he wins on Sunday, while they were down and it looked like they were going to be slaughtered, all his teammates interviewed afterwards said, oh no, Russell just kept going up and down the sideline saying there is no doubt that we are winning this game. No doubt. And Joel talked today about no doubt in the faith, in the power of God, and the power of what you're capable of doing. Doubt, that's one thing I experienced on one of my psychedelic experiences, was I saw on a really clear level that doubt is the devil.
It is.
Doubt is the devil.
Yes.
If you set out on a project and an endeavor, you have to have no doubt. And Will Smith talks about he never had a
No,
net.
baby.
She's allergic to you, Merlin.
I'm sorry.
They asked him, and it is a great interview with him. He's a very inspirational fellow. What did you have as a fallback plan, for the acting? He said, no, there was no fallback plan. There was just no doubt I was going to succeed at what I set out to do. Not in an egomaniacal way at all.
No.
There's a difference between raging egomania and quiet self-assuredness and confidence, and then a willingness to share that with people if they're willing to hear it without resentment and begrudging you because you made it. But what you say about creating your own reality, it's funny. My first LSD experience was in a car with my kind of mentor. His nickname was M. Very wise man, and he's sitting behind me as I was questioning all these things as the LSD was kicking in, and he kept saying to me, Seth says you create your own reality. Oh. And Seth is one of these, like, the first books of somebody that channeled and oversold. There's a lady named Jane Roberts. You might want to look it up. You'd be pretty fascinated by it. Because she was the real deal. The changes she went through as this Seth character spoke through her. But that was the deal. And in the Course in Miracles, it talks about how you are completely responsible for your reality and everything you see. You're creating it at every moment. The trick is becoming more conscious. And then if you get into that, I mean, I imagine even you probably got somewhat depressed in New York after you got injured again. And, depression takes on its own way of taking your mind.
I reached a extremely deep place of darkness. And, what happened was that I'm an extremely athletic person.
Right.
And so with not being able to walk, not being able to sit, my life completely changed. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
Right.
Or if I was
you were dealing through it not knowing if it was going to heal.
Not knowing if it was going to heal, because I was like, because they couldn't tell me anything. And I couldn't even do the things that, that gave me comfort. Yoga, going out hiking, or sitting and meditating. I couldn't do that.
Oh, you couldn't even sit and meditate.
I spent a better part of 7 months laying on my back on the side. This was my only comfortable position, with my legs up the side of the bed on my back, because that was the only position that I could be in for any length of time.
Wow.
And in those times is when all I had to do was talk to God.
Right.
All time was God time.
It's actually talk to God.
It was
some people
it
think
was
it's
God
crazy,
time.
but I agree
and that
with you.
allowed me to actually get into my chakras and really, because that was all I had left was this.
And catch and grab onto your faith.
Grab onto my
and have faith that you were going to heal.
And I was wavering. I wavered constantly.
That's where you just keep reinforcing it. You have to say it out loud.
Yeah.
I say it out loud every day that my faith is
Affirmations.
unshakable.
You have to have
That's
them.
another thing that what Joel Osteen gave me. That I still got the jaded New York Jew in me. It's like that's all a bunch of bullshit, hippie bullshit, West Coast bullshit. It's all a bunch of nonsense. But this much I've learned, because I used to talk about the troubles I had with money. I made mistakes with money, and I had a couple of people tell me, look, you must stop speaking about that. What comes out of your mouth is very powerful.
Very powerful.
And Joel repeats that every week. That's why I like to watch him and listen to him, because he reminds you, be careful how you speak to yourself. Be careful what you tell others about yourself.
Exactly.
Like I made a post, Bill Gates wants to go to a cashless society, and I happen to love crisp hundreds. That guy I told you about in the last show, Richie Kempler, he used to iron hundreds. He was very
Oh.
Yeah, he called them Crispies. And the kids in my life, I give them hundreds. I go, this is a crispy.
Yeah.
You don't just want wrinkly hundreds, you want crisp ones. And so Bill Gates wants to go to a cashless society, so I posted on Facebook, you can have my crisp hundreds when you can pull them out of my cold, dead hands, Bill Gates. And then one friend of mine who supports me and who's always looking for ways for us to make money together and is doing well back in Michigan, he put tongue-in-cheek, he goes, when have you ever had crisp hundreds?
Yeah.
And even that, even though it was meant as a joke, and I deleted it and I called him and I said, Stephen, you cannot say things like that. I have a lifelong friend from 4 or 5 years old. I talked to him once when I was going through some really bad trouble with money, and he just said, well, it's status quo. And I said, Dave, I got to go. I can't talk to you.
I want to share
and
something with you.
The way you shut those people up, though, for good, is you come along with lots of crisp hundreds.
With your crisp hundreds.
Success is the best
And wave
result.
them. Slap them around a little bit.
Just share from them.
One of the things that I share with my students is what you're talking about right now, the chakra. This is a gate. This is an extremely powerful gate. The throat chakra.
And mine got ruined by that polyp.
I was going to tell you, I had a thyroid gland out to here.
Oh my God.
And they found 2 cysts around it. And they wanted to do surgery, all types of stuff. And I was, I chose not to. I mean, it was that bad, and I went the complete holistic route. But that's another story. Now, this is a gate, and this chakra is the 5th chakra. Things go in and things go out.
Right.
This is a very major gate. Not only that, it sits between the heart and the head. So you have to realize that it's a gate of manifestation. And once we put words out into the universe, it changes, and it's an energy, it's a frequency, it takes off.
I agree. I've seen it.
They did a
the thing with the water?
Yeah, in Japan, I think it was.
Yeah, it was in that movie, Who the Bleep Am I? Or Where the Bleep, Who the Bleep
Exactly.
Do We Think We Are,
And the
whatever.
fact is that we are over 68% water.
Right.
And
water, I drink a lot of water.
These things, like, they set
put
up these tanks of
and
water.
they put the negative
and
words.
one, they put negative words.
I love you on the other.
And played like harsh music.
It totally
and one,
affected
they
its-
said soft. They said, I love you, and played
it's
soft.
very
And then the other
fascinating.
one, they did nothing to. And you saw the crystallization frequencies that happen in each one.
It was fascinating
The
stuff.
one that they did nothing to was just a solid block of ice.
Right.
And then the one that was soft, it was just beautiful, like expressions and
Right.
everything in the water.
Pleasant
and
to look at. The other one
was like
demonic to look
dark
at.
and just like horrible. Now, when people are saying things to you, and when you allow certain words to come out of your mouth,
Right.
you're taking in those frequencies.
I agree 100%.
Because it's a vibration.
You're 100% correct.
Sound is extremely important.
And in this town and in the world of comedy or stand-up comedians, a lot of them like to get up on stage and go talk about, I'm so broke. They post it on Facebook, and I come to them and I say, look, man, you got to stop it.
Yeah.
You got to stop it. And the other thing you got to stop doing is when you have a success, don't go running all over Facebook with it. If you're an actor and you're going on auditions, get the job. Let it get on the TV and let people come to you.
Exactly.
You don't have to go, if this is what you do, if somebody's going to work at the warehouse today, they don't go, oh, I'm going to go to work at the warehouse today.
Yeah.
And I beg people, stop talking about every single audition.
Yeah.
Because then when you don't get it, people are coming back on what happened with that great audition. You went to producers. So I don't. Nothing from me, man.
I agree.
They'll be
I
surprised.
agree.
They'll get to see how his face on TV, hear his voice on the radio, and that's it, you know. But whatever happens for me in the way of success in this game, it was all attributed to faith and the grace of God. Did you see the interview with Tyler Perry? Where he talks about everything he has is by the grace of God.
Really?
Tyler Perry
That makes
is
sense.
an empire.
Yes, he is.
And there are people that give him grief about, you know, the characters he puts out and that he's
he
not
has extremely
funny,
humble
but
beginnings. His entire
created
journey is amazing.
obscene wealth affecting millions of people.
Yeah.
And I saw Oprah's show where she had her and Tyler Perry were in the front row at Joel's service.
Yeah.
So it's funny to me about people, you know, a lot of people will tend to begrudge those who've succeeded because of, you know, the lower end of human life, that lower part of humanity with the jealousy and the envy and whatever. It's like, you can say what you want about Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, but they attribute their success to their faith and the grace of God. So you know what? Since they have what I'd like to have, billions of dollars and influence on what's going to go on TV, I'll go ahead. I think I'll listen to them.
Listen to them.
And not you and your
Howie,
nasty begrudginess.
As the urban, here goes an urban slang for you.
Give me some urban slang.
Don't hate, emulate.
Don't hate, emulate. Don't hate, emulate. All right,
Don't
it's
hate,
4:30.
emulate.
We did it. We did an hour and a half. We talked for an hour and a half on various subjects. But so you're not a churchgoer, but you are a
I go to Agape sometimes.
Oh, you go to Agape
I go to
sometimes?
Agape,
and
yeah.
you're a very strong person of faith.
I am.
I mean, if things get rough or if somebody
Yeah.
close to you had a problem, you would
I
say,
turn
I'm going
to
to have
prayer.
faith.
Prayer
is so
to prayer.
powerful. I've
Yeah.
seen prayers answered so many times
Yeah.
over the last 7 months, 8 months,
yeah.
that nobody can, you know, in the world of comedy, there's a lot of hatred towards God and Christians and negativity towards the idea that there's a magic man in the sky. And I look at them and I go, look, man, I don't know what you think God is, but that's not how I perceive God. That's not my relationship with
Exactly.
God. And you haven't lived my life. So if you want to be hating on the magic man in the sky, that's your business. But I'll go ahead and keep on turning to God and praying and having faith and watching things come my way and watching my prayers answered. And I was ready to, you know, I was like in deep despair and I pretty much had enough.
Exactly.
And
you got pulled. You were pulled
I just
out
kept
of it.
having faith.
I've been down that road so many times, and it's always when I buckle in and realize that I am the creator of what is happening
correct.
around me, and that doesn't mean that I'm praying to this man in the sky.
No.
That man in the sky is closer than my breath.
Right.
Right, exactly.
It actually
it's
can
Purusha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Right.
realizing
It's
it. And
within.
so it's within.
It's like the Wizard of Oz. All you got to do is believe.
All you gotta do is believe.
You know, and if you choose not to believe in something stronger and
Yeah.
bigger and more powerful than yourself, a supernatural power, that's fine. That's your business. That doesn't mean you're a bad person. But how you get through some of the trials and tribulations of this life without being able to say, you know what, God, you take it.
Exactly.
I'm done.
Exactly.
And when I had my polyp, I said, you know what, you don't want me talking? That was my gift from you to me, my ability to speak, and
Yeah.
you want it gone?
Yeah.
Fine. Maybe you just want me to sit silently.
And how much stronger are you
Yeah.
now
Oh.
for having gone through that journey? And that's something that, you know, that's a challenge that you chose for yourself as well.
Correct. And that's another thing. When you say you realize that, you know, you're responsible for your reality. When bad times are happening, you got to sit up and say, look, man, this isn't,
It's
I'm not
me.
a victim of circumstance.
Yeah.
I'm creating this and I got to get over the creation of this. At the same time, when you have good thing after good thing start to happen, you got to give yourself credit.
You do.
You know, I'm clearly filled
Yeah.
with more self-love. I'm clearly, you know, looking out for myself on a deeper level because these good things keep coming my way.
Exactly.
But I know grown men who say that's all a bunch of bullshit. The government's doing it to you. You know, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Because it's an easy way out
well,
to
it's
not
also
take
a position
responsibility.
It's
you
also
know?
a position of great weakness.
Exactly.
If you say other entities are
It's
doing
not
it
me.
to you,
I don't have the power.
Remember
I
Flip
don't have the
Wilson?
control.
remember Flip Wilson? The devil made me do it.
The devil made me
You
do
don't remember
it.
Flip Wilson? He dressed up like the old black lady.
No.
And he'd go, "Oh, the devil made me do it." Because that's a big thing when the black church culture, you know, they talk about the devil. And,
Yeah,
and they put it
talk
on the
about the devil a
If you
lot.
did something wrong, you could say
blame it on the
made me
devil.
do it. But the truth is, And I was never a person about the devil, and you know, but what I have seen in this life, in this world, in my life personally, around people I've known, seen the self-destruction of various good people, there is zero question in my mind that there's demonic energy
Darkness
out there.
exists.
There
yes.
is no question.
Darkness exists.
Yeah,
You
and
choose to be of the light.
Yeah, exactly
you know?
correct.
You choose to be of the light.
That's right. And you bring a bright light, my darling. It's great to have you.
Oh, Howie, thank you so much. It was fantastic hanging
Thank
with
you for watching, and we will see you next time. Keep the faith.